This is Larry Rolla, and I'm having a great time chatting with Staxx.
In the winter's circle glow, Larry wore a steady grin, mud on his boots, gold in his hand, betting men all watching him. Harness lines and thoroughbreds, he read the room, he read the track. Every turn a sharper eye, every mile could pay him back. But behind the rail and roar, there was another game. Handshakes in the stable door, whispers calling names. Roller in the shadows, Roller in the shadows. One hand on the reins, one hand on the payoffs. Roller in the shadows, Roller in the shadows. Win or lose by dawn, nobody asked too much. Bookmakers with quiet smiles, crushed hats and folded cash. Jockeys leaning, trainers bending, trying not to look too fast. He says the odds were never clean, some nights were already sold. Race by race and breath by breath, he watched the red lights hold. And the grandstand sang for speed while the ledger took its cuts. Every cheer had somewhere dark, every gate had someone up. Roller in the shadows, Roller in the shadows. One hand on the reins, one hand on the payoffs. Roller in the shadows, Roller in the shadows. Win or lose by dawn, nobody asked too much. Against all odds he wrote it down, the polished truth and the stain. A champion can cross the line still carrying the shame. Roller in the shadows, Roller in the shadows. From the circle to the smoke, from the roses to the bribes. Roller in the shadows, Roller in the shadows. He rode that crooked era, and he lived to tell why.
What's up, Larry?
Hi, Billy.
How you been, man?
Opening. That was a nice opening.
Yeah, thank you. So how you been, man? It's been a while.
I've been as good as I could be under the circumstance.
Yeah, a lot of times I don't meet people, right, from the internet, but I ended up meeting you in real life.
Yeah, yeah, we met.
Yeah, I've been to your house and we did podcasts. Fun times, right?
I think I drove you into the city, didn't I?
Yeah.
Catch a train or a bus or something.
Yeah, the train, and it was raining that day, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how you been?
I've been all right. I a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed. They took out 20 inches of my lower intestine. It was one big cancerous tumor, and now I'm going to give you some advice. After they put a bag on my side, which they reversed, which they were able to reverse 4 months later, but the surgeon come in and said we took 20 or 22 inches of your large colon out, and had you gone for your colonoscopy, none of this would have happened. This took 8 years, 9 years to develop. If you would have went every 5 years, none of this would have happened. And I says, the doctors told me that after 75, I'm 86. So they said, after 75, you don't have to do it no more. And he says, yeah, we changed that. I says, well, thanks for telling me now. So anyway, that's what happened. And I let it go so far that it spread all over the place. And they gave me chemo for a while. And after 3-4 treatments of that, I stopped. I stopped it all. And then I had a terrible pain because I had a big tumor at the edge of the spine, and it was hitting the nerve that came out, and they had to do radiation. So the radiation and the chemo at the same time, it really wrecked me. And what it did was it burnt away all the coating for the nerves in my body. And now I have that other thing. In fact, I'm going to the doctor tomorrow for it.
It's like where it's tingly, right? Like
yeah, just like when your arm falls asleep and then it starts to wake up. That's how my whole body feels. It's terrible. Everything that can help you has a side effect that, in my case, makes things worse. So that's it. So make sure you go for your colonoscopies. They make a lot, especially when you go and they say, well, we took out three non-malignant, little cysts or whatever. It means a lot because them things are the ones that turn into cancer. So,
isn't there natural things that you can do instead of radiation?
Yeah, well, radiation is the best thing to shrink the tumors. Chemo don't shrink tumors. Radiation shrinks tumors. And
no, there's natural things that you can do. You can do RSO. I heard RSO attacks tumors.
I don't know what RSO is. All I know is that this is what I was told to do, and I don't know how anything natural. And I love alternative therapies, but what the hell could you take that's natural that would shrink a tumor as fast as radiation that's pinpointed? Oh, excuse me, that's pinpointed right on the tumor. So that's what I did, and it wrecked me. It wrecked all the nerves because the pain was so bad that they gave me very strong. Instead of giving me like 30 treatments, they gave me 10, but they increased the strength of it. So it's tough. Look, it's nice to get old, but the dues are very tough. And this new treatment I'm getting starting Friday, it's supposed to be have a very aggressive cancer, and they said that this is this thing they put together, this cocktail, was made specifically for that type of cancer. So we'll see. I was supposed to have my first treatment last week, but the chemo wrecked me, and it lowered my immune system to the point where I got pneumonia, and then they wouldn't treat me. So it's just a mess.
So you're just getting over pneumonia, right?
I'm just getting over pneumonia now, and the reason I'm a little gaga is because they gave me so many pills, so many. They give me pills for everything, and every one of them pills have a side effect. They give me pills to try to numb the pain. They like I'm taking like 15 pills a day, and they turn you into a zombie, and that's why it's tough. It's tough. I don't know how them little old ladies that I don't know how they do it. I don't know, but it's a tough, terrible disease, cancer is.
So you would rather not take the treatment and have
if this targeted treatment that they have, if it has the side effects that chemo has, I'm going to take 1 or 2 treatments just to make sure that the side effects are the same, because the side effects are horrible. All you do is throw up all day. You feel terrible. You can't move. You're weak. You have diarrhea all the time. You can't eat. You can't do nothing. Who the hell wants to live like that? To me, the quality of life. I'd rather live with no pain, no nothing. I'd rather live one day like that than 10 years the way you feel after chemo. So if this treatment is, the side effects are bad, I'm going to quit everything. Look, I'm 86. I lived a good life. If I had $100 million right now, there is nothing everything I ever wanted to do, I did. So I would probably give the money away. There's no place I want to go. I have everything I need. I did everything I wanted to do. And I want to go out on my terms. I want to go out pain-free, and whatever gets me, whatever takes me, takes me. But I'm not going to go through just to live another 6 months or something, go through agony. It's terrible. It's not worth it. After 5-6 days after the chemo, you're just about over it. You become basically normal. Maybe you lost 5 pounds. I started at 230 pounds. I'm down to 160.
Damn.
So I had enough. And the only reason I didn't put myself into hospice, which would make me, in the event that I couldn't do it on my own. Like if I stopped everything, if I was pain free, fine. If I had a little pain for whatever reason, I would go into hospice. It's just not worth it. So that's it as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sorry I'm a little gaga, but the pills are terrible.
No, I totally understand. I mean, you still made it onto here. You're still doing this with me, so I'm very thankful, man.
Well, whatever you need, Billy. I tell you when I first met you, whatever you need, if I can do it, I'll do it. Whatever it is.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How's the dog doing?
Dog's doing fine. I just come from the dog park, and he's laying right here next to me.
You're with him every day, right?
Every day. He's so attached to me. That's terrible. I hate to leave the house without him. So now I try to take him everywhere I go. And he sits in the car nice if I have to go into a store or something.
Yeah.
He sits in the car nice. So he's a good dog.
So take me back to your early life. What's your earliest memories as a kid?
My earliest memories as a kid, I realized early on that I wasn't like the other kids. I wasn't interested in baseball or hockey or basketball. And all I wanted to do back then was race cars. When I was, I think, 10 years old, I built a little go-kart with a lawnmower engine. And that's what I was in. And then naturally, as you get older, I built bigger ones and faster ones. And then from there, that was my thing. I grew up in an Italian neighborhood, and naturally, you get almost everybody gets very impressed with the mob guys on the corner with the big Cadillacs and all the girls. I wasn't interested in that. I wanted to be by myself. I wanted to do everything I wanted to do. I wasn't interested in following the leader or being a part of something. I wanted to be by myself. And I figured that out very early in my life. And I've been alone on everything I ever did. I did by myself, except one time.
Better that way, right?
Oh, it's better that way. You don't have to answer to nobody. If you make mistakes, you take the lumps, you learn from it, and you don't get in trouble because somebody that you're with did something stupid. You have to be with them. Everything you do yourself. You take responsibility for it, and you learn from it. So I got a million things I could tell you not to do. And then that's it. I took the lumps and I took the good times.
Where did you work when you were younger? Your first job?
My first job was delivering chickens when I get out of school. on a bicycle with a basket in the front. I used to deliver chickens.
Live chickens?
No. Barbecue chickens.
Oh, were they cooked or?
Yeah. Cooked. I used to people called up the place and ordered them. It was a butcher shop. And he had a big barbecue machine in the back with five rods with chickens on them, and they used to, and I delivered them. When I wasn't delivering them, I'd help them, clean up the shop and everything. At the end of the day, take all the ice out of the thing and put everything away. That was my first job, and I'll tell you when that was, because my boss was so impressed with me that I worked hard. He took me and my mother to see what the hell was that? Sammy Davis Jr., Mr. Wonderful, the play Mr. Wonderful on Broadway.
Where did you grow up in New Jersey?
No, Jackson Heights, Queens. It's surrounded by Astoria, Corona, it was a whole Italian neighborhood, that whole a mile in either, 2 miles in either direction, all Italian. And
there was a lot of mafia influence back then, right?
Yeah. And a lot of guys got caught up in that. I didn't. I wasn't interested in that. I just wanted to. I was more interested when they were driving around picking up girls and go. I was in the garage I rented for $5 a month back then, and fixing cars. I built the stock car. I built the roadster. I built a dragster, and then I used to go race them in Freeport on Friday, the stock car, and Sunday I used to go to West Hampton, the West Hampton drag strip.
How'd you get your money to build the cars?
I used to steal it, rob gas stations. How else do you get the kind of money you need to build, replace an engine or replace a clutch? I was 15 years old, 14 years old. And that's what I used to do. I used to rob gas stations to get the money.
So that's around the time you're robbing gas stations. That's the time you're introduced to John Gotti, right?
No, it was after that. It was after that. It was when I was a little bit older. One time, I robbed the gas station. It was a brand new gas station, and he had a grand opening. And the grand opening, it was in 1955, and back then all the standard shifts a lot of the cars were switching to automatic transmissions, and the mechanics had to buy these transmission jacks, but it was just starting. So this gas station that was grand opening had 3 brand new transmission jacks, and they were all on display for the grand opening, and tires and everything. So the night before, I robbed a box truck, and then I realized that I couldn't lift these transmission jacks. So it was the only time in my life I ever got somebody to help to work with me, do something with me, because every other robbery I did by myself. And maybe 6 months after that, we sold it to his friend. And somehow the guy who owned the gas station that we robbed, 6 months later, he must have went to every gas station around, and he spotted them. And they gave us up. And they gave me up. And when they got me, they wanted to know who my partner was, and I wouldn't tell them. And I got the beating of my life up there. Back then in the 50s, it didn't. Nobody said you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to. They just said sign this. If you didn't sign it, they beat the shit out of you, pull your nails out of your fingers.
What?
And, they gave me a bad beat, and what happened was he says sign it. I says I ain't signing nothing. He come from around his desk. There were 3 detectives. Detective Sands was the lead detective. He come around the desk and slapped me. When he slapped me, I hit him. And when I hit him, the other 2 detectives handcuffed me behind the chair, my arms behind the chair. And Detective Sands went and got a big law book, big thick law book. He kept hitting me on the head about 10 times. And then that fractured my skull, my ears were bleeding, my eyes, my nose. Then they released me and they said, sign it. And I think I kicked them or something. And they hit me again. I fell to the floor, kicking me and stepping on me. And I crawled into the corner. And they got them big poles. Back then, they had the poles to push up the windows. And they were jumping on my ankles and everything. But I crawled up into the corner. And they were stabbing me with that pole. And they threw me down in the tombs downstairs under the precinct. These 3 cells they call the tombs. 3 little 8x10 cells in the basement, 140 white bowl, and 6-7 inches of water with rats as big as cats. They left me down there for 3 days till Monday.
No food, nothing, right?
Nothing. The only food I got was when they took me away Monday. They put me in a hold'em cells at the courthouse. They gave me 1 sandwich. One piece of bread was raisin bread. The other one was white bread. And they had 2 pieces of bologna in between. And then I went to court. My mother bailed me out. And I was covered with blood, but it was all dried up. It was all over my face, my head, my ears, my clothes. And I says, Ma, you got to take me to the hospital. I'm having trouble breathing. My ankle was this big, couldn't walk. And she said, I'm taking you where I should have taken you a long time ago. And she worked for Tommy Lucchese, the mob boss. And she brought me up there. And basically, he said to me, he asked her to leave the room. I was in a room with him alone. And he said to me, he says, your mother is my friend, and she's a good woman. And you're breaking her heart with all your nickel and dime bullshit. And I want to give you some advice. You go home and think about it. Straighten your life out, and I'll help you in any way I can. And all of the problems that you had prior, including this one, will go away. And I'll help you financially with anything you want to do, legitimately. And that's what turned my life around. And I can't go into the whole thing because it'll be hours. It'll be hours what I did after that and how I straightened my life out. And then a white collar worker did something bad to me and made me go the other way again. And it's an unbelievable story. And that's what my friends used to prompt me to write the book.
So you go to the hospital after this meeting?
Oh, yeah. I had 7 broken ribs, broken ankle, a concussion. My jaw was broke. Yeah, I was busted up pretty good. I spent about a week. It was in Booth Memorial Hospital in Aspen. They had just opened. And then, but just before that, in between, when I was robbing everything by myself, that's when I met John Gotti. I robbed 3 trailer loads of Cutty Sark whiskey from a yard from Mid-State Inspector, I think it was. That was a trucking company. And they had these three trailer loads of Cutty Sark whiskey in a hold'em cell. They had to stay there for a week. I knew the switcher that worked for the company, and he told me about it. And I robbed him. I gave him a couple of $100. And I robbed it. And we opened the gate. We didn't open it. He didn't open the lock. We had a chain, something to cut the chain, so it looked like it wasn't somebody that had a key to open the lock. And that's when I met John Gotti. So before I took the trucks out, I contacted him because we were kids. We were 16, and he was like a standout amongst all the kids that wanted to be wise guys and everything else. He was a standout. He was the smartest. He was the toughest, and he knew everybody. And he was very impressive in what he did. He wasn't a phony. He's a tough guy, but honorable. And
Yeah.
I told him about it. And he had a guy that owned catering homes, and we wind up splitting the money. The catering guy took it. I can't think. I think 1,100 cases of Cutty Sark whiskey in each of the trucks. I think we got 1,500 a truck. I can't remember.
Damn, that's a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, 1,100 cases of Cutty Sark whiskey.
But $3 grand back then was a lot of money, right?
Yeah, I think we got 1,500 for each truckload. I don't remember. I really don't remember. It was, I mean, how many years ago was that? 70 years ago? I don't. I mean, there was so much going on in my life after that I don't.
So you never spent any significant time in prison, right?
Never went to jail.
So that's a huge accomplishment, because a lot
Well,
of
it's
people.
not huge. It's just that if you got a half a brain, you know, if you got half a brain, you don't get caught. You figure things out.
So what are you thinking when you, because you're on the outside looking in, right? When you see John Gotti getting arrested and going to prison, and then you see his rise through the mafia from the outside, what are you thinking when you see that?
Well, I wasn't with him. I mean,
No, you're not with him, but you know who he is.
Oh,
You've
yeah,
seen his name in the newspaper and things, right?
Yeah, but I really never paid attention. I never really paid attention to that. My attention was racing cars, and the biggest problem I had was every time I had to change an engine or something, I had to go on my back. I didn't have a hoist. So I got a job in a gas station working nights in a bad area where they were always looking for night help because it got robbed every once in a while. And I wasn't worried about that because I was the one that was robbing the gas station. So I took the job, and after and I was he says I could use the jacks, the hoist, the lifts, all his tools. It was like heaven. And one day, months and months later, a horse van pulled in. The guy asked me for a bucket of water and fill the truck up with gas. He had 3-horse box truck that fit 3 horses. And we started talking, and he says, what's that thing over there? I had a 32 Ford Roadster, and I had just put a 55 Chevy engine in it. And I told him, that's my Roadster. I race it at Freeport. I mean, I race it at West Hampton on Sundays in the Roadster class. And we start talking. He says, I race horses. And I says, what do you get if you win? He says, oh, there's purse money. Now, where I was racing stock cars and Drexes and Roadsters, there's no money. You get blankets and trophies. So I switched he invited me to the farm, and I've been in the horse business ever since. So this story goes on and on and on and on. And
but back then, there's a lot of horses around, right? People on the street riding horses still back then.
No. We went to racetracks. We were stabled at a farm, and we went. The first track I went to was Roosevelt Raceway.
So when's the first time you came across a horse? Was it within the truck?
Right then, yeah.
Really? That's the first time you've seen a horse in real life?
First time I've seen a horse. No, I've seen the back then they had the junk man that used to come around with a big wagon and a horse coming down the street with a bell, junk, and then the fruit man with them were the big horses. Them are the only horses I ever seen. But I really didn't I paid attention to my little go-karts, and that's all I wanted to do. Girls came third in my life.
Yeah.
So
it was racing, stealing shit, racing, and then girls, right?
Yeah. And then when I got in trouble, I did, and that's what prompted my friends to write the book that I wrote. And had COVID not happened, I had a deal with Sony Pictures for $100 million movie. And I was going to get a 10% of that right up front. And I flew to California, and COVID happened. They shut the whole country down. And then one thing after another. So they called me up 2 years after COVID. And they said, because they bought my option for 16 months, option to my life story. And after 16 months, after it ended, and they called me 2 years later after California started opening up again. And they said, we want to re-sign you. And I says, I'll re-sign you. I said, but I'm in my 80s. When are you going to start this? And they started up again. And they said we couldn't tell because when COVID happened, they were in the middle of a bunch of major pictures with major stars. So I didn't re-sign. Then I re-signed. The Valalango brothers called me up. They just had a movie called Green Book, and they won the Academy Award. And I was friendly with their father, Tony Lip. So they called me. They says, we heard you didn't re-sign with Sony, Village Roadshow. I says, no, I didn't, because we'd like to do your movie. So they flew in from California, and we start looking for locations and start writing and start talking to actors and everything. And we were very close to starting this whole thing. We had all the locations, we had everything. We were talking about what actors we were going to get. And one of the brothers, Nicky, had to go back to California for a couple of weeks. And the other brother, Frank, called me and says, my brother got to go to California. Can I stay with you? Because when he first came here, he stayed with me for 2 weeks. And we got very close. So when his brother had to go to California, he says, can I stay with you till he comes back? And I said, sure. That was Sunday, and he was supposed to come Monday. He never showed up. I called, no answer. Tuesday, no answer. Wednesday, no answer. Thursday, I got a call, and they found him dead in the Bronx. He went to get some cocaine, and it was laced with fentanyl, and he died right there. So that was in November, and so his brother, naturally at the wake, his brother said, look, we have to postpone all of these things. And he says, I'll get back to you maybe in February or March or April, whenever I straighten this mess out. In the meantime, I got a call from, I can't think of his name now. He's a big, he wrote maybe 30, 39 or 38 TV series. Major ones, and he was a heavyweight guy, and he called me up and he says, I read your book. I got your book from a friend of mine. I'd like to do I'd like for you to come out here, and we'll put together a little pitch, and we'll go sell it, and we'll start the TV series. He wanted to do a TV series, and so did Nicholas Pileggi, who was my first partner and writer in the beginning. And
that'd be a good TV series. It would be really
yeah, because the reason was because there's just too much material. Yeah. I mean, it goes for 10 years and it's all heavyweight stuff, heavyweight stuff. I mean, it got components of, if you took The Godfather, Casino, Bronx Tale, Wall Street, put it all together, that's what involved me. From Nicky Barnes and the Harlem Crew to senators and congressmen and gangsters, and then eventually I got back with John Gotti in '74, Whitey Bulger. You know, the whole thing was.
Tell me about Nicky Barnes. What dealings did you have with him, and how did you first meet him?
I met him. I was raising in Monticello. That was my main place, Monticello Raceway. And I used to go to the Concord every night, the Concord Hotel. They had the best entertainment. I used to go there every night. and I was very friendly with the maitre d'. And naturally, I had a big table all for myself in the showroom and also in the lounge. They have the biggest lounge there. I think they hold 1,100 people or something like that. Gigantic lounge. I had all good entertainment there. So one day the maitre d' comes to me. He says, Larry, he says, I got some neighborhood friends up here. There's no place for them. The bar was packed 3 deep, and I had the only table that had seats empty. He says, you mind if I let them sit here with you? I had a table for 8. I said, no, bring them in. And who was it? Nicky Bonds and 3 of his crew guys. One of them was on my show. He's the only one that was alive. He got out of jail, and he called me up, and he come on my show. He's on my podcast. So anyway.
But you don't know who they are, right? When they first come.
Oh, I know who they were. I knew who they were. I mean, I wasn't oblivious to what was outside the racing world.
Yeah.
You know who they are. And plus, that's my neighborhood. Plus, my brother was there, and my family, all my friends were there. So he brought them to the table. He introduced me to them, and that was that. And then at the end of the night, we start talking. We went for breakfast. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said, what are you guys doing up here? And he says, well, we come to see the grand opening tomorrow of Natalie Cole. She's opening her first show ever at the Raleigh Hotel. But we can't get seats. We can't get rooms. We can't get nothing. Well, I had horses with the owner of the hotel. Oh God, I'll think of his name.
So you had the ins, right? Basically.
Yeah. And Jesus Christ, I forgot that. Bobby Parker owned the Concord. I had horses with him. I was the only guy that wasn't a guest at the hotel that was allowed in the hotel. And Manny Halbert was it? I forgot. So anyway, make a long story short, I got them rooms at the hotel. I got them seats for the show, and that's how we got involved. And then he says, he was telling me that he can get down 5,000 a position for racing. So we made a couple of $1 million doing that till they got pinched. I'd love to go into detail about all of this, but I am so gaga with these pills that it would take it'd be a great podcast. It'd be a great podcast. It'd be similar to the one that there was that guy from Soft White Underbelly. He come down from California. And that was a pretty good interview. There was a lot left out, but it was like an hour and a half. And that was a pretty good interview. I did 1 million of them too, but there's just so much to talk about. Even with Nicky Bonds. I mean, I could go into, he says he can get down 5,000 a position. That means first, second, and third. So I couldn't fix the race. You can't get 6, 7 guys to be dead so you could win. Plus, they would all bet on you. So I start switching horses. I put like let's just say, so I'll make it simple so you can understand it. Let's say it was a $3,000 claiming race. All them horses were worth $3,000. I would pay off the checker who in the paddock who checked the horses. I'd give him $500, and I would switch with a real good horse. And they check the tattoo number. So I give them 500, say, look, just pass them by. So I'd switch horses, and I'd put a much better horse that was much better than that one. And that's what I did for 3-4 months. Just keep switching horses.
So you're able to judge who's going to be first, second, and third?
No, you're not able to judge. You just race. But if I have a horse that's, in other words, it's like, it's a stupid analogy. It's like putting Mike Tyson in with a featherweight champion. You know, So I put a much better horse in place of the cheaper horse, so I would win. And we would, and Nicky Barnes would bet 5,000 win, 5,000 place, 5,000 show with Fat Tony. And he was able to do that because him and his crew bet over $2 million a weekend on sports. So they give him a courtesy bet of 5,000 a position. So we win a lot of money, and then it lasted 3-4 months, and then they all got pinched, big raid, and they all went to jail.
So when they go to jail, you're done. It's done. What you guys got?
Well, that part of my life is done, but I had many other things going.
Yeah,
I fixed hundreds of races at Belmont and Aqueduct and Saratoga. It goes on and on and on and on. The story is unbelievable.
Is there any times where you're like worried that they're gonna catch you?
No.
Because I remember you telling me this story about how when they threw you out.
Yeah, they barred me 2 times for life, but it's not because I got caught. It's because they had a bad race that I wasn't even in, and I refused to cooperate during the investigation. And once you're licensed by the Racing Commission, it's a privilege, not a right, and you have to cooperate. I knew who did it, but I wouldn't tell, so they barred me for life. It cost me a lot of money with lawyers to get back in. I got back in, and then years later, in '84, the same thing happened. So it's hard to put it all together the way I'm telling you, because it's so involved. It's so involved, and that's why they were going to make it $100 million movie. That's why they were going to get the biggest stars and everything, because it's an unbelievable movie. Like I said, it has, if you put Casino, Goodfellas, Godfather, Wall Street, put everything together, that's me. That's my movie. So
did you ever have any dealings with Fat Tony Salerno?
No, that's a Genovese family, and the only thing I was worried about was that I was very friendly with that family. I didn't know that Nicky Barnes was betting with him, but if they ever found out, I don't know what would happen. But they were that crew. Nicky Barnes was betting $1 million, $2 million every weekend, him and his crew, on sports. So this was just like a courtesy bet for them. It wasn't no big deal. But I didn't. When I found out, I said, "Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know." But I knew, but I never talked about it. But now everybody's gone for years and years and years.
So when you owed the money, right? When you owed the money when you were younger, and they were going to throw you in the ocean, were you worried that they were really going to throw you in the water?
Well, the only thing I was worried about was the guy that I owed the money to was Bobby Cabert, and he was a mad dog. The whole neighborhood knew him. He killed 17 guys right in the street. He was just, and he did not in the back of the head, right between the eyes. He just grabbed you. He's crazy. And that's who I started betting with. And
you didn't like think twice a little bit about before you started dealing with this guy?
What happened was how I met him. I was barred from all the New York tracks, so I was racing at that time at all the tracks out of town. And I come from Lincoln Downs, and I come to Freehold, and I had a couple of horses I couldn't lose. So I come to Freehold, which is very close to my neighborhood, and I called up my friend, and I says, "Listen, I have 2 horses in the Freehold. Both of them will win. Get as much money as you can and bet on them. They'll both win." And I raced, and they both won. So I went to meet him in the grandstand after, and he gave me, I don't know, maybe 10,000, 12,000, something like that. And he introduced me to the people that he borrowed the money from, and that was Cabert, Little Sammy. So made no difference to me. I won and everything else, but so that's what. But what I forgot to tell you is that I developed a terrible habit of betting sports. So I made millions with the horses and lost millions betting sports.
So
And
what would you bet like football and baseball and things?
Well, the when I lost the most money was that 1 year in '71, I think it was. Cabert, I was betting with Cabert. Cabert says, any action you want, just see me. So I called up and I says, what's my limit? And he says, whatever you want to bet. He says, but I'll take up to 10,000 a game. So I bet every game. I bet 100,000, 150,000 every weekend. And that's where you can't win. And I didn't win. So after I lost maybe all my money, over $1 million.
So when you're watching a game like that, right? You're watching a game. Are you watching it on TV? You listening to it on the radio? Like how?
TV. The only ones I listen on the radio in the middle of the night were college games.
You bet on those too?
Oh, I bet 100 games a weekend, 500 a game.
So what are you thinking when you lose and you know you owe all this money?
You don't think you're addicted, and it's all about the chase. You're chasing the money. It's all about the chase. So finally, I ran out of money, but I had excellent credit. They got $1 million of my money. They got excellent credit, and in fact, I don't know how to get to my. I have a StreamYard thing too, and on my thing, I don't know. Maybe you could do it. I don't know. I have a 5-minute video that I did that would explain what happened. Because after I lost all my money, I had excellent credit with them. So I made up a story that I was going to Florida to buy some property. And I knew what they were going to say. That's all right, no problem. Call from there. We'll give you the line. And that's what I did. So the first week I lose like 150,000, betting every game. Second week, another 200,000-300,000. By the end of it, I lost 700,000 after 3 weeks. And I had it. And he said, when you coming home? When you coming home? So I had to go home. Either go home, I owed him 700,000. Either run away, kill myself, or go back. I went back. And from that point, that's when I did the video. I wish I knew how to get the video up, but I don't. But it's on my podcast.
But he brings you into a boat, doesn't he?
Well, what happens when I land at the airport, he has little Sammy pick me up, and he takes me. He calls me. He says, "You want to go home and get what you owe, because I got to bring you down to the Shore Casino where Cabert is." And I says, "Sammy, I'm broke. I have no money." And he says, well, you know you're going to have a problem, big problem. Whatever it is, it is. So he calls up Cabert. Cabert says, come down here tomorrow. So they pick me up the next day. We go to the little cafe, walk in, don't say a word. He walks out and walks to the pier, go down the pier, gets in a boat, go out. And
so you're in the boat.
I'm in a boat. They bring me downstairs with one of his muscle guys. And I don't know, maybe 20 minutes later, half hour later, they're a bunch of miles out in the ocean. And they bring me upstairs. They stand me in a little 3-foot bucket. They pour a couple of bags of cement in. And here comes Cabert. And he says, there ain't, can I curse on here?
Yeah.
He says, there ain't one motherfucker alive today that beat me. Now you tell me why I shouldn't put some water in here, let the cement dry, and throw you the fuck overboard. It's because I could pay. And then he looked at little Sammy. That's what this little 5-minute video is about.
Yeah.
He says, you could pay? He says, yeah. So he says to Sammy, what do you think? And he says, you know, he controls a lot of races. He's a big action. We got $1 million of his money. He showed up every week, never short, always on time. I'd give him a shot. I think he could pay. So he says, all right, I'm going to turn this into a Shylock clone. Now, the truth of it is, out of the $700,000 I owed half to Barney Cutler, which is another bookmaker, and half to him. So I only owed him $350,000.
Yeah.
And he says, he says, well, you're going to get a pass for showing up. He says, but the $350 you owe me, I'm going to turn it into a Shylock loan, 2 points. That's $7,500 a week. You miss 1 week and you got no more chances. And basically, that was it. And then I went, and then I devised a plan to pay off the jockeys at Belmont and Aqueduct and winning a lot of money, millions and millions and millions. It goes on and on.
And you pay them.
No, I paid.
Do you still deal with them after you pay them? Do you still deal with them?
No. It took me 4 years to pay him in full, because at the same time I was sending kids for $15,000, $20,000 a piece to the Bahamas to get cured for cancer. That's a whole other backstory. Yeah. I mean, we can go on and on and on, because it's not just one story. It's a lot. I rebuilt the only church in Monticello for $300,000. I sent the kids to cancer. So as I was making the money, I was helping a lot of people and taking care of my debt with him, because I had to give him $7,500, Barney Cutler $70. I had to come up with $15,000 a week just for him back in 1971. So it was tough, and that's what got me into sending somebody into that knew the jockeys, paying off the jockeys. That's a whole other story. And by 1978, in October, I got even. And then
whatever happens with him, with that mob guy that brung you on the boat.
Well, he wound up going to jail. He wound up going to jail. He killed a bunch of guys. John Gotti. He was John Gotti's, the head of John Gotti's crew in Jersey. When John Gotti became the boss, he took him in. He sent him he kept him with Sammy Gravano. That's a whole other story. That's what I mean. Everything has every situation has a whole story behind it that could become a movie. That's why Nicholas Pileggi says it has to be a TV series. And he really believed that it would take the place of The Sopranos. Had COVID not happened, it would have. But now we're here. And the only other shot I had was with this guy that wrote all these TV series. And when I flew out to meet him, the writers went on strike. And he says, we can't do nothing. You're going to have to go home and just wait this out. That lasted 9-10 months. And then I says, are we ready now? He says, no, the actors are going on strike. Then
you just can't win, right?
And that brings us right up to today. So now then the streaming networks come in, Netflix and Fox bought up everything. Now they figured that instead of paying $10 million an episode for a TV series, they could pay a couple of $100,000 for a reality show. So now it's all reality shows. It's very, very, instead of making 300 movies a year, they make 30. It's tough now. But I put together something I'm going to try to get, if I live, I'm going to try to get, in fact, I have a meeting in a couple of weeks, try to get a few million together to write, because I have my friend Inter Donato who makes movies, good movies. And he made about 10 movies already. And he said for a couple of million, I could make a movie that looks like a $10-15 million movie. So that's what I'm going to do, because I have an appointment with Mark Wahlberg, but they're going to take 2 years to do anything. There's no shot I'll be alive in 2 years. So I'm going to try to raise the money myself. But I just got out of the hospital now, and every time I start feeling good, something happens. So it's hard for me to, I can't make plans. So it's tough. It's tough. But I'm hoping this new treatment that they have, it's supposed to be a targeted treatment. I hope it works, because this cancer is tough.
It
It's
takes a
tough.
toll on you, right?
Yeah. I
Well, you're a
lost,
strong guy, man. You're a fighter. I can tell.
but you know what it is to lose. I started out at 230. I'm down to 160. I just come from the hospital before this morning. 160 pounds. I mean, it's almost 100. Well, let's see, 60, 40, 30, 70 pounds I lost.
It's a lot.
Half of that I lost because of the treatment of cancer. With that chemo, you can actually feel your body wasting away. It's terrible. And I stopped it. I said, that's it. I had enough. They says, well, we have a target. We're just waiting for approval for this. So anyway, that's it. So, like I said, I told you when I first met you, anything you need, I would oblige. But I'm really in no shape to do a podcast. But it's sad because it's such a, like each thing that you asked me, I could go on for an hour or two about each one.
I know.
And
Well, you got quite a bit done, so I appreciate you even taking 5 minutes.
Well, I just want your audience to know that I'm sorry I can't elaborate. I don't know. I mean, if they want to see the whole story, they can go on my podcast, which I wanted to end. I did. Well, it did end for a long time because I was in the hospital from February until just a month ago. So I ended everything, but I'm trying. I'm trying. It's just that after a while you get tired of fighting. You just get tired, and it's not fighting to stay alive. 90% of the time was fighting the pain, and it's the pain that'll get you every time. Non-stop pain. I checked myself into the hospital every 4 days because the pain got so bad, and the only thing that would help is that they can give me intravenously them heavy narcotics. But then after 3-4 days, they kick you out with pills, which are 10% of what they can give you in a hospital. So I double up or triple up on the pills. They're supposed to last a month. In 10 days, I run out of them. So I check myself back in the hospital because the pain is, you just want to die. You can't stand it. It's equivalent to a dentist drilling your teeth, hitting a nerve, and then just staying there with the drill, not nonstop. That's how bad the pain was.
Damn.
And that went on for 4 months, and that just drains you. And finally, the radiation shrunk that tumor that was resting on the nerve. But then you get the side effects from the radiation and the chemo, which stripped away all the lining for all the nerves. And now my whole body is like, right now I have to get up and walk because the only relief I get is when I walk. When I sit down, it gets bad. When I lay down, it's impossible. I haven't slept in months. I haven't. And I tried that one pill. It's a very small pill. But then the next day you're in the fog.
Yeah.
You can't even function. And then it starts all over again. So it's tough. It's tough. But I'm glad that you're doing well. You have a great opening for your show. I like that background, all black with a little red on the side there. That's nice. My background is this.
Got the curtain.
That's that trophy.
Yeah. This is the trophy.
Yeah.
And I got some curtains.
Yeah, I see the red curtains back there.
I got a green screen in back of that.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm trying to step it up a level,
I wish I was a lot younger and healthy because I'd hook up with you because you're very, very creative.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that with my story in your hands, it would probably get done. You're a very smart, creative guy.
Thank you.
Whatever you're doing, I wish you well. I can't stay on much longer because I can't even keep my eyes open.
No, I appreciate you taking the time, man. And
I wish I could stay longer, and I wish I was able to answer all your questions in more detail. But maybe if this treatment works and I don't have to take all of these pills, I'm taking like 7, 8 pills, and then they gave me all these antibiotics, another 4 pills, and I have to take a nebulizer every 4 hours. And it's just, and every one of these things have side effects.
Yeah.
And it just, it turns you into a zombie. But
even the nebulizer makes you like jittery, right?
Yeah. The nebulizer. Well, you see, they want me to stay on until all the medicine and the little thing is gone. But that lasts 45 minutes. And the first day I did it, and my heart was beating like crazy. And so now I only do it for 10 minutes. I don't care how much medicine is. I do it for 10 minutes and that's it. Because what happened is my right lung, there was so much mucus in it that it stuck to the wall. And you know what they did in the hospital?
Oh.
They couldn't get it free with all the nebulizers and everything. They had a guy come in 4 times a day and have me sit in the chair, bend over, and on my back, on my right side, he'd give me karate chops for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Trying to break that free. That's what they did. I don't know if it ever went free because I insisted that I wanted out of there because it's fucking hospitals are everybody's coughing and sneezing sick and everything else. The guy next to me, I was in there for 4 days. The two guys that they put with me died. One guy and then another guy come in, he died.
Damn.
I just wanted to go home. So they sent me home and they give me a bunch of pills. But I probably should have stayed there because I drove my car today to the hospital this morning and stopped for a light. I fell asleep. The guy behind me blowing the horn.
You fell asleep in the car while you were driving?
Yeah.
Damn.
At the light. I was stopped at the light.
What do you do with your dog when you go to the hospital?
Oh, he's in the morning. I could leave him alone in the mornings because he sleeps. Yeah. But I can never leave him alone at night. Never. He gets anxiety.
Yeah.
So Joanne is here, or we never leave him alone.
Tell her I said hi. I hope she's doing well.
Yeah. And when both of us can't be here for whatever reason, I have a friend of mine that stays over that used to work for me years ago, a girl called Trish. She stays over and sleeps over for 2-3 days, and she takes care of it.
Well, get some rest, man. I really appreciate you coming on. And
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I did the best I could.
Nah, don't apologize. You're good. If you guys want to see the rest of his story, go over and check out his podcast, Against All Odds, Larry Rolla. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Billy.
If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too bad, start your own podcast. Peace.